Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister is a total and complete hypocrite. During the recent federal election campaign, he presented himself as Captain Canada. He wrapped himself around the Canadian flag with his elbows up. He wove a story of having resigned as chair of the multi-billion-dollar investment firm Brookfield to come to Canada's rescue at a time of crisis. Of course, this self-serving narrative is pure fiction, because what the Prime Minister didn't tell Canadians was that as chair of Brookfield, he played a key role in helping Brookfield avoid paying billions of dollars in taxes in Canada through Brookfield's shady use of offshore tax havens. In fact, the Prime Minister has the dubious distinction of being chair of Canada's biggest corporate tax dodger. Analysis reveals that of Canada's 123 largest corporations, there is no bigger tax dodger than Brookfield. Brookfield managed to avoid paying a staggering $6.5 billion of taxes in Canada in only 5 years. And I want to emphasize that the Prime Minister was not a bystander to Brookfield's tax dodging. He was an architect, including setting up and registering 3 multi-billion-dollar investment funds in Bermuda and the Cayman Islands, which, of course, are notorious offshore tax havens. And not only that, the Prime Minister stands to profit from one of these funds that he registered in Bermuda in the way of future bonus pay. In short, this is a Prime Minister who stands to make tens of millions of dollars as a direct result of his tax dodging scheme. So much for Captain Canada, so much for Mr. Elbows Up. And meanwhile, this Prime Minister has the audacity to tell Canadians that they need to sacrifice more. Well, I've got news for this arrogant and out-of-touch Prime Minister. Millions of Canadians get up every day, they work hard, they play by the rules, and yes, they pay their taxes in Canada. Why won't he? He has a responsibility to do so, and in the meantime, he has a responsibility to come clean and tell Canadians how much he has in offshore tax havens.
Parliamentary Secretary.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, I do have a lot to say on this particular issue, but let's be very clear at the onset. It's important to recognize when you talk about, ethical standards, if I can put it that way, Canada has some of the, or if not the, most stringent rules in place that were in place now for quite a while. And when you think of the current Prime Minister, look at it from this perspective. He has not only met, but he's exceeded his requirements under those ethics guidelines, and he will continue to do so, Mr. Speaker. Now, having said that, let's do a bit of a reflection in terms of what it is that the Conservative Party focused so much of its attention on. What I've always said is character assassination. And we saw a great demonstration of that just now, Mr. Speaker. Brookfield's, what is it, $100, $200 billion company? I suspect that it's got an investment in a lot of things. And at the end of the day, Mr. Speaker, some of the investors sit in the Conservative caucus. Yes. Now, they might have sold off since they've been called out on it, like the deputy leader of the Conservative caucus. There's a number of the Conservatives that actually have investments in Brookfield, Mr. Speaker. Now, I'm wondering, if we were to start to say, well, what about this and that and this and this and that, and put on the tin hats, I'm sure we could come up with some pretty mischievous behavior coming from the Conservative Party of Canada. There's a whole pile of them, Mr. Speaker, that have questionable ethics in terms of conflict potential that's out there. But, Mr. Speaker, in fairness, I am not a conservative. I am not a conspiracy theorist believing that everything is a conspiracy in order to try to justify some sort of a statement when we know full well that the Prime Minister has done everything that is required of him, and he's actually exceeded that. But it doesn't stop the Conservatives because they know that they can score some political cheap shots that are unjustified, completely unfounded, but by spreading it, that they believe that they can convince people that there's some sort of real corruption that's there that's not. And that's what we see coming from the Conservative Party when I talk about character assassination. And to the Prime Minister's credit, he has not allowed that to be a distraction as he continues to build and work towards building Canada strong, Mr. Speaker. The Prime Minister, as this government, is focused in terms of what we can do in order to enhance the lives of Canadians in every region. And a part of that agenda, Mr. Speaker, is one of the reasons why we have a Prime Minister that has been doing a great deal of traveling, ensuring that we can break down and open up doors so that we can have more countries to have trade with, Mr. Speaker. Literally billions of dollars of potential commitments coming in, excuse me, as a direct result of the Prime Minister's actions. Not to mention the budget and how it is that the budget's there to support things like our military, infrastructure, Canadians as a whole in terms of programs. These are all things that are positive, that are happening. Primarily because no matter how focused the Conservatives are on themselves, Mr. Speaker, and wanting to have and participate in character assassination of the Prime Minister has resisted that and focused on serving Canadians, Mr. Speaker. And that is something in which I believe he is going to continue to do because we have a very straightforward goal. And that is to build Canada strong, to build Canada to become the strongest nation of the G7, Mr. Speaker, to provide hope for Canadians.
The honourable member for St. Albert Sturgeon River.
Mr. Speaker, it is a fact that the Prime Minister set up 3 multi-billion-dollar investment funds in Bermuda and the Cayman Islands, and it's a fact that he stands to make tens of millions of dollars in future bonus pay from one of those funds. Those are facts, not a conspiracy theory, as the member across the way suggested, but it's typical of these Liberals who have nothing but contempt for the truth, nothing but contempt for accountability, and nothing but contempt for transparency. And they have contempt for taxpayers who work hard and pay their taxes in Canada. Meanwhile, we have a Prime Minister who is a tax dodger. Why won't the Prime Minister simply come clean and tell Canadians exactly how much he has in offshore tax havens? Why won't he do that?
Parliamentary Secretary.
Yes, Mr. Speaker. The Prime Minister is someone that was appointed by Stephen Harper to become the Governor of the Bank of Canada. He was appointed in England to become the Governor of the Bank of England. He's been a successful business person within the Canadian economy for many years. He has an incredible track record. That's something in which we should be encouraging, to have successful individuals like the Prime Minister to become parliamentarians, to become leaders, to provide their visions. That's something we should be encouraging, not trying to tear apart because of, well, character assassination, as I've said it, Mr. Speaker. I don't think it's called for. I really and truly don't. As I say, we have rules. Those rules are being followed, and the Prime Minister will continue to be focused on Canadians.